Yeah, it's going to be the best time. It's going to be the best travel. And then next year when we do another travel episode, it's like, what's an example of good travel? And I'll go, MUMFest #1, 2022, North Carolina, Raleigh, Lakeside Retreats. Me, Yurt, you, the viewer. Coming up this fall on Fox. Hey, travelies. Welcome to the travel episode of Travel Under Tratter. So today we're going to be talking about going to new places or being on the way to new places.
I have no plan.
Oh, no plan.
No plan. I didn't
unplanned travel.
Didn't write an outline for this one because you have travel to meet a whole bunch of other people that are traveling to meet us and hang out at the Mind Under Matter Campout Festival.
Insanity.
Which is now this week, now that you're listening. It's
Insanity.
really happening.
I cannot get over it. I go over it every moment that I'm just around here. I'm like, wait, we started this show a year ago, and then someone approached us about the retreat place that they had, and then all of a sudden we're at the moment in which it's happening.
It's so much crazier than that, because they approached us as the same time we got the Lunatics. It was when we did the International Mum Day episode on February 22nd. Too easy to do. And you made an art piece for it. Mm-hmm. You remember we put some of our artists in it because that was the idea. We wanted to get our artists together. Blah, blah, blah.
I do remember this one.
And there was a row. We used some of our artists' art in the row, and your art of people dancing through this row. And we literally have an artist row that looks like.
I should have manifested world peace. I should have drawn world peace.
Instead, you just manifested like some artists maybe making a couple bucks off of their art or
hopefully.
Whatever.
I mean, I can only manifest trinkets when it comes down to it. I cannot manifest large scale things. Maybe I can, but I've chosen to only manifest the smallest things. Like maybe I can make $500 next week, and then I do it. And sometimes I overshoot and I make $562.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Not
I mean,
bad.
If you get good enough at trinket manifesting, though, and then if you get enough trinkets coming in, it adds up. You piece them together.
Yeah. I guess I could manifest multiple trinkets, not just doing one every month. That could work. But yes,
I like. What if that works now? You've like had this now. You're like, damn, why can I only manifest a trinket at a time? And you're like, whoa, what about 2 trinkets? And then that happens. That's
it's
all
called
that you had
scalability.
To do.
It's like the being able to think of things like how can it scale up easily and not like fall apart after 100 people get involved or after, because I don't know. Sometimes I think about my business. I would probably suffer if I got too big of an order because I have to spend the money first and then I get the payout thing. So then it would probably overdraft like crazy if I got too much attention on one day, which I'd love to make that happen. I'd love to be in debt $100,000 or something and then in a week get it back.
Yeah. That is there's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of hustling around putting together this festival. I'll tell you that.
I don't know how you did it. I mean, I know that you can do anything, especially when it comes to shenanigans, but I still don't know how you did it.
It's happening. It's going to be amazing.
Like, I can understand sending 10 emails, but how does one send 100,000 emails?
I did in front of a fire. I sent about 600 emails one week. That was the biggest email week. Was about 600 of them.
600 motherfunkin' eames
that I then have to respond to when they responded to me too. That was like 600 people that I emailed.
600 individuals with families and individual personalities that maybe they want an exclamation point. Maybe this one is turned off by too many exclamation points. There's just a lot of variables to email.
Well, we put a lot of work into this. It's going to be great. And now people are going to be sick of hearing. Now people won't have to hear about us, the build up and the fear of missing out anymore. Now they'll get to hear of the knowledge of having missed out. From now, that's what they'll get to hear. I'm kidding. You guys will catch it next year.
Yes, all will be caught at some point or experienced via Vulcan mind meld.
It was a fun learning experience. And so in a travel episode, because that's one of the things that I took for granted is this is like the curse of knowledge type thing. Even though I've done it, so because I've been to some campout festivals and stuff before, I'm like, hey, everyone likes these things, and just most people have never been. No, you haven't been. A lot of people that are coming, this will be their first thing like that, and they're amazing and magical and terrific, and because of that, I don't know, you just assume like, oh, you guys all know what this is, right? Like, nope. I have no idea what this is or how it works or anything else.
I still don't really know. I mean, I have a vision in my head of what it'll be like, but I'm sure it'll not be that. I'm
have
sure
to
it'll
be in
even
a
better.
Physical place. Banana got in a few days ago, and then
now she gets like,
yeah.
Because the video won't even do it justice either, because the video is competing with all sorts of other videos. So you're like, well, how is this better than, this Star Wars game or this Lord of the Rings world or something? These are both fictional places as far as I'm concerned right now.
Once you're here, your head will start swimming with ideas and possibilities.
But it'll be too late.
And it'll be too... well, it's going to be an annual event. It's not going to be too late. It's going to be...
for this one.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of ideas in. It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Oh, I forgot my outfit.
You have an outfit?
My plain pillow, which is also...
I told you to tell me when you have fun outfit ideas.
Works. I just grabbed it, and Kat has like a collection of these. Like, always seems to forget it and then gets a new one at the... Oh, nice. That's a travel hat.
I feel like this is like an old-timey travel hat. Like that's another thing in terms of like taking things. Whoops.
That hat looks ridiculous right now, but in the 40s, that's just what a normal man dressed like. Had like kind of a light colored suit and a hat and smoked 10 cigarettes and worked in advertising, and only the boss had a typewriter. Everybody else just sat at the desk with nothing. And that's what work was.
Getting on a plane to travel. That would be how you would dress. That's the best you would ever dress, is if you were getting on a plane to travel.
Yeah.
So you need to be so close to everyone else, and you're doing this like really monumental kind of thing in your life. This, I mean, that was it. That I mean, I guess we'll get that. Humans will potentially get that with space. One day. One day.
One day. But will they still be humans then? Or will we be some deep fake thing that's merged by then? Just seems like space is... The line just keeps getting pushed, and it's a harder problem than you think, and the money and the...
I'm in 1,000% agreement with you, but it is funny to think about like doing the same, getting I don't think anyone that's done it was like Richard Branson with Virgin or whatever, took some people up and did
Virgin space,
a few things,
sexiness, space, but it's sexy, so you think of sex in the space air.
What do you think about him? I think he's great, right?
He seems to be genuinely liked and stuff, but I'm just saying this because I saw one documentary where all his employees are like, Mr. Branson, we just love your company. Thank you so much for letting me work for you. And I will say one thing, I do love that he invented not having shitty lighting on planes. Like the Virgin flight with that nice cool purple or like the cool blue, and it's I mean, not everything has to be sexy, but it's nice that they didn't go the opposite direction, which every other airline is like, you work a corporate job. This is a corporate building with corporate lights and you hate yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what the message is there. And I don't like it.
It's just funny that like now that the absolute worst thing about travel is the flight. Unless you've just never been on a plane before, or you don't get to do it very often, then you get to look out and you get to see above. That's pretty amazing that we get to see above the clouds and stuff.
Yeah,
right? Like,
if you control the window, but so often
always window seat. I booked you a window seat, by the way.
Get out of here.
Yeah, well, I'm not a monster. I wouldn't. I'm also stubborn, and I wouldn't book you an aisle seat even if you preferred it, because I think that I'm correct in that the window seat is the best seat to have.
I don't need to get up to go to the bathroom. It's
even
if it's 6 hours.
You disturb others; they don't disturb you. That's what it's all about.
Exact.
So, but that is, I remember. I don't know if you had the same experience, because I was thinking about this, and I feel like you traveled at least a fair bit more than I did when you were young. Like,
yes.
As a child, right?
You made up for it later.
Yeah, but I remember traveling for the first time, and I remember being like 16, 17 with big dreams of being a comedian. I wouldn't tell anyone, but I knew I wanted to go to New York City. And
wow,
I remember
fancy boy.
Yeah, to become a stand-up comedian. And I remember like singing to myself what's the song? If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Like I remember singing that
in the news. You know, that's a later song from his catalog. You think of it as a Sinatra song.
Was it,
like
Sinatra?
Yeah, but he made it in like 1992 or something. It's some ridiculously recent song. It sounds like it's from 53, but it's recorded in, I believe, the early 90s, maybe late 80s.
You want to look this one up?
Let's look the boy up. Okay, I'll look it up right now. I like that at the beginning of recording this show, we were like, no, we can't look stuff up. And now we're the look up boys of comedy, and it's kind of fun this way. So what I'm doing right now, so that there's no dead air, is that I'm looking up Frank Sinatra's song, New York, New York, which was first released in, when was it released? Tell me, internet. Stop doing this.
Stop not spreading the news that we want.
I don't want a live video of it. Let's see. Did Liza Minnelli record it first? Everyone has a song called New York, New York, and it's not giving me the Sinatra one. I know it's a box set. Oh, maybe it was listed in the 50s. Which one am I thinking of? There's some Sinatra song that you think is not from that time.
Yes, it's 1977. See, it had like that's why you look stuff up sometimes, because otherwise those lies will spread and it'll become some Berenstain Bear sort of thing, and that will drive people to madness.
But there was another song, like a very, maybe Love and Marriage or something. Some Sinatra song. I'm still willing to die on this hill.
Sinatra did Love and Marriage?
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
I guess because I always associated it with Married with Children, that I just never associated it with the very classy Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, but, I guess that's the joke, right? Like, it's this classy song, and then there's this trashy guy, and he's on the couch, and he hates his wife, or whatever the show is about.
Yeah.
Al Bundy, Ted Bundy, Frank Sinatra, last song. Maybe this is just the Sinatra episode.
I just remember being so excited. I always felt like I was in prison just in my hometown. I could not stand it. I couldn't wait to get out. I had big dreams of going to the big city. And now it's like, well, I don't think it would take some doing to get me to move to New York City. It really would.
Like, you mean without someone offering you a big paycheck to pay for it? I mean, who knows what it even costs now? Like, I don't know what an apartment costs.
Pretty amazing job. And I like visiting New York City and stuff.
Of course, it's the best place on earth.
Yeah, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, but it's up to you, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
New York. I think the song I'm thinking of is The Best Is Yet to Come. The best is yet to come when you stick your finger up your own hand. The best is yet, I'm still looking up and it's not coming.
It's weird
up.
when you don't pay attention to lyrics in a song and it sounds so good, and then you just hear them for the first time and you're like, wow, those are really what the lyrics are.
All right, the last one I look up.
It feels good when you stick your finger up your own hand. He was a real crooner.
Yeah, he was. Oh, 1995. Okay, there we go.
You found it?
But someone else had written it a long time ago. Whatever. I forgot that Sinatra.
It's fun to watch you experience the thing that I normally do.
Yeah, being wrong about the specific.
Being wrong about the thing, and like, but right about it, and that searching for like, what's the word? What was the? I know I'm just off by because it drives you insane. So your memory works. You need like five associations or so for your consciousness to go ping. I remember this, and so you need to work through it. Like, what was the song? It had something to do with this. This was a thing.
5, interesting. So not 3. I would have thought it was the golden 3 rule, but 5 is also a magic number, at least for that.
I mean, I should say that number 5 was rather arbitrary. But if you want to say like prime people to remember that I've had Alzheimer's, or something like that, you prime them with some subtle cues so that their brain makes the association a little bit quicker, and that's how you kind of figure out how many associations are needed for the brain to go, oh yeah, that thing, I remember that. Yeah, I guess
we all have a little bit of Alzheimer's. Every one of us has some not remembering stuff.
Yeah, it's just, if Alzheimer's is, I mean, so what do you think? If Alzheimer's is just non-stop tip of the tongue for eternity,
with everything.
With everything, is that hell to you, or is that? I mean, there's a lot going on with tip of the tongue moments. There's curiosity, there's frustration, but there is comfort in that you do know, even if it's real. Even if other people don't know that you know that you know it.
Yeah. You know? I've said the Ram Dass quote before, right? Where he had a stroke, and he said that words are clothes we use to dress up concepts to send them out into the world. And now, closet closed. So he knew there was a closet full of clothes, and he just couldn't dress up the concepts in words to send them to people. So yeah, frustration is probably the number one. Curiosity also, but probably the frustration masks that flavor.
Yeah, because there's a bit of embarrassment and stuff too. Yeah, frustration.
Maybe it is hell. I don't know. Are there happy Alzheimer's people? I feel like it depends on your personality. If you're okay with letting go of everything, then maybe you're fine. And if you're a very type A, like, no, I'm losing my togetherness.
You know what I thought would be amazing is if I have a like memento type condition happen to me. HM is the famous. That was the guy's initials. That was the real patient that the movie was based on.
Harry Memento.
Yeah, it was Harry Memento. That was wow. Yeah, that was a great guess. You knocked it out of the park. It was, in fact, Harry Memento. And the guy that could literally only remember things for a very short duration of time. He only had short-term memory, and none of it could be integrated into long-term memory. But he remembered everything before this one particular injury or stroke or whatever it was had happened. And he became just one of the biggest guinea pigs of all of science ever. It was a dream for scientists to even get to meet this guy. He's one of the most famous scientific studies in patients that there's ever been in terms of
because he just gives you such good data.
And it's just fucking fascinating and scary and weird, and he never remembers you and stuff. And then so you go and you like meet him, and then you go, can I meet him again so he can not remember me? But they also find out that subconsciously you can be trained over time. Like if you tell someone to pick your right or left hand, just an arbitrary thing, and then every time they pick your left hand you give them some like terrific reward, or with the right hand you give them some punishment or something like that. And over time, a
handshake or a slap.
Yeah,
pick the right hand, you get a slap. Pick the left hand, nice to meet you.
Over time, even though they'll walk in, it'll be the same person, and they're like, hey, nice to meet you. They've consciously never met this person before. They will know what hand to pick over time. It gets in there.
The LA way of meeting people is the opposite of that, in that people you don't know, you say good to see you, just because you don't remember who you've met and not met. And then so everyone, even if you've never met them, they'll be like, good to see you again, because they don't want to be rude. Maybe you were the boom mic operator on their film they shot 3 years ago. So
I just handed a comic in town a brochure for the Mind Under Matter Campout Festival, and then he was like, how's it going? And I was like, oh, sorry, give me that back. I didn't mean to give that to you. I apologize. I know who you are. You're awesome.
You treated them like a common.
Yeah. Just handing him a flyer, but you should really check out my thing.
Yeah, I'm in it.
So I do. It's weird because we went from dressing up to travel. Well, I don't know.
Dressing up to only pajamas and bare feet, and I'm guilty of that too.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I know a lot of like boomer comics complain about, like, have you seen these kids on the plane? Or they're dressed in their pajamas still. When I was a kid, if I was still in my pajamas at 11, my dad would have beat my ass. No one is successful if they're still in their pajamas by 11. I'll wear them all day, because that's the way they're treating us. Yeah. I'm matching the level of treatment that the airline gives us.
I love that you do that. And also, when I haven't flown in like nearly 3 years now.
What?
But I used to fly on average twice a week for a long period of time, 14 years or something. And I would, like, every time I got off a plane, I wanted to burn my clothes. Just every time. I just, like, it was the first thing I did. I'd get in a hotel, I'd take my clothes off, and I would stick them in a corner somewhere so they wouldn't be near anything else, because you're just sitting in a... I love that planes are just like, oh yeah, planes are just perfectly ventilated, and they're just like, it's amazing. It's better than fresh air, actually. If everyone just lived on a plane, there'd never be a
I'd be the first suicide.
Ever a respiratory virus ever again. Are you fucking insane? When you're on a plane, you can feel on your skin just like a coat of human breath on you. That's what it always felt like for me. And so at first it was like, yes, clouds, hooray, I'm traveling somewhere. And then after a while, it was like, I can't just do this twice.
I don't remember
week.
ever loving it. Even, I don't remember my first flight. It could have been 2. It could have been, 4. I just remember always having somehow been on planes here and there. And I just only remember my ears popping and not being able to get up. Mm-hmm. And there was no TVs back then. And there was no iPad with the, the bumper case that all the kids have today. And they can watch How to Train a Dragon 18 times. And there's none of that.
Yeah, I know. And you mentioned Virgin. It is amazing. And JetBlue is amazing as well. And traveling internationally is can be really good because it's like traveling domestically on Virgin or JetBlue, which sucks because how haven't they just taken over the world? How aren't they the biggest airlines in the world? Instead they go to like 5 cities or something like that. It's so frustrating because I would have been a member. I would have I would have loved that experience, though. You habituate. That's the problem. You get into first class, now you can't go back to coach, blah blah blah.
Maybe it's probably something to do with the bottom line. It's harder to sustain. And then with United and stuff, just bottom line is killing it, cutting corners. Who cares? You're only taking us because we're a good price.
Yeah.
And then the other one. And also they're more new. And I think this might be fake information too, but I think Richard Branson started Virgin because one of his flights was canceled. And then he wanted, I
feel like I really like Richard Branson. That's a wonderful fun fact. I interrupted you.
Oh no, not at all. No, I love him too. It's just I'm careful to love. I don't know what he's actually done. He could be a horrifying monster with the best PR face ever.
Right.
But maybe he's awesome. I know it's not nice to just not like billionaires all of a sudden, and it's very virtue signaling-y. I'll love billionaires. Rihanna, Oprah, Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg. You got to have your Facebook. You got to have your Instagram. Donald Trump. You got to love the president. You got to support the troops. Who's another billionaire?
Something to aspire to.
Jeffrey Epstein.
If people
don't speak
didn't get
ill of
to
the dead.
aspire to be a billionaire, why would they work?
Yeah.
I like that. That's how it went from like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and then the first episode was like, is this guy really a millionaire though? And he was just kind of worth $1 million total with his house or whatever else, and they're like, fake millionaire. I need more. And now they're up at praising billionaire. That was a quick jump. Yeah. People are complaining about inflation now, which is like your groceries costing 1% or 2% more. Your dreams, but the point is your dreams now cost. They went from 1 million to 1 billion.
Yeah, 1,000x.
I grew up wanting to be a millionaire. Now that's like, that's what I need to get by, to retire. Yeah. I guess, maybe.
1 million to retire. And then who knows how much taxes is eating it. Like you don't know what every year. It's like, well, we want a half of your sitting around money. And then we need another half of your sitting around money. And then we need another half. And then
I give you $1 million and you can't you can't sell entertainment anymore. There was a situation like this in the show Hacks.
Oh yeah, she says, I'll give you $1 million right now to never do comedy again.
Yeah. $1 million. So someone gives you $1 million, you could go out and drive a forklift or whatever, like have a normal job. But otherwise, you just ride it out on this $1 million. You can, but you get to you can invest it in any way that you want. Stuff you don't think $1 million has you for the next 40 years of your life.
No, perhaps it does, but I don't think I would ever take that deal of I'll give you $1 million to not do this
thing that you really enjoy. Yeah.
I mean, I'll give up popcorn or something, but something medium, not giant.
I'll give you. That would have been a better scene. I'll give you $1 million to give up popcorn.
Yeah, very non sequitur.
Like, oh, are you serious? Are you? I don't know. And then says no. That would be a sweet flex.
Hacks is a good show. I wonder what's happening to it and all of HBO, because I'm sure you've heard some of the smattering, chattering, flattering of it being sold, and they're nixing all the old content so that they don't have to pay out royalties. So then all the original programming is going away, and I believe Nat Geo bought them, or Discovery or something bought them. Discovery bought them. And yeah, it's weird. You wouldn't have thought Discovery had that kind of cash, but I guess they do.
Boy, I'm out of the loop.
I don't know much about it. I don't know much about that. I don't know the Biden Hitler speech. I don't know. I see people talking about
his background was crazy or something.
Yeah, that's it. Or I don't know what he said. Maybe
it looks
he said
like my background right now or something.
Just a little more red, probably.
Okay.
And then he's like pounding his fists on a podium. You can always make a photo op of something.
He was pounding his fists on a podium.
Probably not. He probably wasn't pounding anything.
I mean, it gives me hope if Biden was animated in some, if he had enough blood coursing through his veins to pound on a podium. I'm like,
you'd have to get all of it in there.
Thank goodness.
Is he the oldest president in history?
Yeah.
I think he might be.
He absolutely
we don't think
is.
about that.
Seems like he's doing some pretty good stuff too. It seems like he's been like kind of crushing it lately. I don't know anything because I don't read the news or anything else, but it seems like he's just been like sort of like getting a lot of good things happening lately. I don't know if that's true, but if it is true, that's hilarious.
Maybe it's the team. Fuck? And then the president always gets in the way, and then the people in the team
can make the speech and stuff like that.
Yeah, can do stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'll probably know less, even more. But maybe we'll know news again in like 4 years. It'll be exciting, and then we'll know the news again.
I mean, I don't think it's that news isn't exciting. I think people are fatigued. I think they're like burnt out. I think it's too exciting.
I'm burnt out on everything. I'm genuinely worried about my mental health.
Are you? A little?
It'll be good though. It'll be good. I won't be you won't find me hanging tomorrow or anything.
Oh, that's good.
You'll find it next week.
Yeah. How old are you again?
38. 38 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
38 years of being generally this. Not exactly this. The atoms are like cycling in and out and stuff, and it ages, and it ages too much. After a certain point, it starts to get gray and fall apart. But generally, it's been this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was falling apart a bit, and Banana got here a few days ago, and we just started crushing just like email stuff and like last minute things that needed to be done, just working like 12-hour days in front of the computer and stuff. And it was just, we were just knocking it out of the park. And I went from being in an anxious, paralyzed state of, oh my God, I can't believe what the and we handled it all. And now I'm in a very good mood. I'm excited for the festival, and it's all gonna go great. And then I can't identify with this state when I'm that other guy that needed to dip back into TV. And
if only the two could talk to one another. If only the depressed self and the exuberant self could somehow come to terms, like war terms, like don't violate these, rules of warfare. Like you will not become depressed during this week, and then we'll allocate you this week to be depressed. Do not cross this line.
Yeah.
But it doesn't care.
I would settle for that one. What's that historical Christmas where everyone put their arms down and went across enemy lines and celebrated Christmas with one another?
I don't know that one. I know the trope, though.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a Klingon trope, too. I remember there's an episode where the Klingons are going to war with each other, but then they're all drinking the night before and having fun. And that's the thing.
It screwed up war really bad. they had like both sides were in trenches for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and they waved a flag around, and someone got the idea out there that they should just like take a day off, celebrate Christmas together.
And they listened. And
they did it, and then the next day they had lots of trouble killing each other. They would be like firing and missing on purpose and stuff. What was that?
And they were all Christians, if they celebrated Christmas.
Do you need to be a Christian to care at this point? Christmas has evolved.
I'm not Christian. We always celebrated it. You know, you get the tree, you decorate the yard, you compete with the neighbor. You ask for something not too big. You ask for something just big enough that you might get it. You get it, you play with it, it becomes a childhood memory. You try to revisit it 10 years later, doesn't really quite work the same. I can't play Donkey Kong Country now and feel the joy I felt in 1994. That's forever in 1994.
Yeah.
I can try though.
Yeah, I was usually a shit during Christmas. I was usually like slightly disappointed.
What did you ask for? Like dirt bikes and BB guns and stuff?
No, the best thing that I ever had, I asked for a Nintendo, and then my parents, like, the ritual was you got all of the good gifts at night, and then Santa Claus would deliver, and then you get some small things in the morning.
So Santa was the big ones?
No, the parents are the big ones, and then but Santa, it was confusing. It depended. It was. My mom's family was so big that they needed to figure out how to schedule everyone coming together and when Santa was going to come and deliver things.
Irish Catholic, like right?
That. Yeah. And so I didn't get my Nintendo that night, and then the next day, the only thing that Santa delivered was a box that was like a big like refrigerator box or something, and I was like, I don't care that it's big. It's not a Nintendo. That's some bullshit. And I unwrapped it, and it was a Nintendo in there.
The big box trick, which you didn't know yet.
I didn't know yet when I.
Everyone knows the big box trick after a few Christmases. Mm-hmm. I was lucky in that sense that I had an older brother that we got those things before I even knew what they were. Like, we get a Super Nintendo, and then he's all excited. I'm like, yeah, what's that? This is something we're supposed to be excited about, right? I'm only 1 foot tall. Great. and then it's just always there. I've like never had to ask for a gaming system. It just was always there. I had a bigger force at nature there.
Things were tight. I remember wanting a television and finding a black and white television at a rummage sale that I begged my mom to get me, and she let me. So that was most of my first Nintendo experience was on a black and white
damn
TV.
Wait, you never got to plug it into the main TV? Why not?
No. Oh,
you never tried?
Well, maybe
you'd rather be private.
Yeah, I wanted to be private.
Yeah.
I would sneak my Nintendo out of the house to go and play it on people that had color TVs.
Why is it sneaking it out?
Sometimes because it was like an expensive. They really went overboard on this thing, and I knew that. It was called the Christmas Truce. By the way, it was a series of widespread unofficial ceasefires along the Western Front of the First World War around Christmas 1914.
1914. That's when World War II is like a billion years away.
Mm-hmm.
1914, when cars are new, when slavery ended 3 minutes ago, when who's the president? Truman? No, Truman's 30s.
What's going on? What else? Do you have cars yet? What's going on with the car situation? 1914.
I think so, right? I thought cars are turn of the century, kind of 1900s.
Mass produce?
Yeah, maybe.
Ford around by then? I feel like Ford's like, I don't know history at all, so this would be fun. I feel this will be fun for the audience to be way smarter than us in this trivia aspect of things. I'm gonna give Ford like when do you think the Model T happened?
When do I think without looking it up? Oh, okay. Taking the window away. I bet it happened in 1912.
Really?
Yep.
I'm going later than that. I'm saying 1920. Assembly by like 24.
Can I look it up?
Yeah.
It has to do with travel. We found our way back to traveling.
Yeah.
Model T Ford car for Mind Under Matter podcast. How is built was when? All right. Looks like Henry Ford was born in 1891 and the Model T was built in, wait for it, 1908.
When was he born?
Or Ford was born in 1860, who cares? 1891, and then the Model T came out in 1908.
When he
the Model
was
T. So what, he was 18? Or he was in his 20s?
18?
I mean, you had like a mortgage and a job. You had been to war 18 times by age 10 back then.
He built the Model T by age 8.
Did he? Was he 18? What? Okay, let's do the math here. Born in 1891.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. His father gave him a pocket watch when he was 12. By 15, he had dismantled it and remantled it and got the reputation of a thing, and then he was good. And then in 1892, I completed my first motor car. 1892? Oh, sorry, years active. He was born in 63. Sorry, years active. Oh. I was reading years active. No, he made it in his 40s or something. Don't worry.
Thank God. That was
I'm just full of wrong information today. I'm like wrong information Sally. Like Frank Sinatra wrote, YMCA in 1998.
This is the most wrong you've ever been by a long shot. I wonder what my most wrong episode was. That'd be a good one. Right in the YouTube comments. What was my most wrong episode?
The pandemic one. All of that was fake. There was never a pandemic. It was Pfizer's conspiracy from hundreds of years ago. Which now that all this has gone by, is there a word on who can chips be cashed in? Were people wrong about it? Were people right about it? Like, was it effective? Was it partially effective but not as effective? Like, I don't even know.
Well, the thing, I don't know. It's like there's. Do you really want me to go into that?
I mean, if you got a short version, because it's not a vaccine episode, but I mean,
yeah, I mean, I haven't dug into COVID recently because I just became too fatigued and I got sick of being yelled at by people. But, and so they won in that regard.
Yeah, they wore everyone down.
Yeah, just wore every single person down until we all gave up.
Yeah, the CDC says it's okay to lick everything now. They just want to go home. They're tired of bomb threats to their house and their family.
Yeah, that's what happened. I mean, There's a lot of counterfactuals involved, which is like the idea of like presuming some alternative reality, like had there not been mandates or something like that, like the mandates were wrong all along but if they hadn't, if they, and I was never sure what I thought about mandates. I had people early on that were against them. Carrie Nixon, one of my guests, that was like, they don't work in history, they just never have. And she was a history person, not a virologist, not a epidemiologist, a history person that's obsessed with disease and plagues. And she wrote a book called The Quarantine Life, and one of her like big statements early on was like, I mean, seems like good on paper, but they just don't, like, people rebel against them. Like people
That's
that charge
fair.
people. Yeah.
Psychology is more important than any, thing you work out on paper.
And so, yeah, I mean, where are we? I don't know. Like, there's been so many mutations and things. I can tell you that right now I am excited for the new variant vaccine to hit the stage, and I have no idea how useful or effective it will be, but I'm excited for it because there's almost no downside to it whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
And almost nothing but upside. And the vaccine worked really well for the OG variant. It was incredibly effective, and the shit just mutated too fast. But
I'm just looking forward to getting it so I can have a guilt-free day of not doing anything.
Well, it's good to think about, because it's like, well, what do you do? What do you do whenever next time, or when there's a new variant? What do you do when one of the most contagious viruses in human history happens? I don't know. I don't think you play it down. It's like like I have a friend that stuck around for Katrina. He had just moved to New Orleans, and I remember talking to him on the phone. I'm a risk taker, like I'm more adventurous. I'm putting together a weird festival and putting my life on the line and income and everything else for it. And I just remember being like, are you sure you don't want to just drive like away? It's just, you can just drive back to Wisconsin. It'll take you a little bit of time to do it. And he was just like, it'll be fine. This is just blah, 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 blah. And then it just, because so many people did that, it just turned into much more of a nightmare than it ever needed to be. And now people are like sitting stranded in a stadium and things like that. And Katrina also could have just missed. It could have just turned last minute, and that person could have been like, you were an idiot. It was never, I can't believe all these scaredy cats. And instead, he ended up being there for 8 months with no power. Well,
8 months, no power?
People were like taking canoes to rob convenience stores and shit. It was fucking insanity.
8 months. That's gotta change you.
Yeah.
8 months of not doing whatever all this is. Maybe it is healthier, but not if you're
But how about this for some pandemic stuff? Let's combine it with travel.
Yeah, travel is good. This episode is about travel. Travel now for 20% off travel.
I don't know if in the pandemic episode that we did in December, did I get to talk about parrot fever? Because it's so fascinating.
I feel like you mentioned
wonderful.
it, but didn't go into it.
I think so too. I think you're right. It's so wonderful for a travel episode. What happened was, when flights became attainable to the average person, and people dressed up in their fancy hats and suits and everything like
Sunday
that.
best.
Fly, yeah, your Sunday best. You'd go down to people could travel to South America, to the tropics, to paradise, and have these luxurious vacations. And they'd want to bring back souvenirs for their friends. And so around the 40s or 50s, there became this influx of people bringing back parrots and things to their friends. And because you have a fucking talking bird, you can bring a talking bird back to, hey,
before internet, before
what a
TV.
fucking flex. I flew down to a different world. By the way, I brought you back a talking bird.
That was the equivalent of space travel back then.
Yeah.
That's actually going to space and getting an alien.
If Musk, exactly, if Musk got you to Mars, which there's not a chance in the world that he's going to, not a chance. But if he got you to Mars and you came back, that would be nothing compared to, like you said, bringing back a little alien that can copy you and speak your language. Amazing. And these things took off, and so then everyone wanted to. Then the cheap thing that you could do was just buy a tropical bird.
Oh, and say you went.
Yeah. Give that appearance and stuff. So now they're packing all of these parrots in crates, shipping them to California, which is then distributing them everywhere. And they're becoming like the hottest pet on the market. Pet parrots just exploded in the United States. I forget what the numbers were because it's been over a year now since I've read this, but it was like in the millions or something.
Millions.
Of fucking parrots that were being brought here to be given to people. Like anyone who was anyone would have a fucking parrot. And
that's like a Pokemon Go like moment in history, because like there's these strange pockets of a trend happening, and it gets washed over unless you really read deep history. But I wonder how many of these, like, there was 6 months where everyone just walked around with like a boot in between their butt cheeks and like a clown nose, and they would just honk it for 2 weeks. It was a rage, and then everyone forgot about it.
Does Pokemon Go still exist?
The same way MySpace does, probably, where you can go to it, but there's no other humans using it, I bet.
That was the pressure to be on Pokemon Go.
I loved it.
Very intense. You did it?
I loved it, and here's why. Because it melted social boundaries, where all of a sudden everyone was walking around with their phone in areas like 20 years ago, you would have been shot for wearing the wrong color. Like we're walking around East LA in a shirt, like a red shirt, you would have been shot, or a blue shirt or something, or a white shirt, you would have been shot before. And then you're talking to strangers like, hey, is there a gym nearby? Yeah, I just saw one 2 blocks over. Cool. And it was amazing. So strange. And I wasn't spearheading it. I just got like sucked into it for a week. And maybe it was because we were all sick of Hillary and Trump. I think the whole trend only lasted for 2 weeks. We were just all sick of Hillary, Trump. Everything was Hillary, Trump, Trump, Hillary, Hillary, Trump, Trump bad, Trump bad. Hillary not best, but way better than Trump. Hillary worse. Hillary go jail. No, Hillary go jail. You don't talk like that. Trump go jail. Trump go jail. Hillary president. And then we just did that for a whole year. And then Trump wins by a narrow margin and then gets to stay for 4 years. And then Hillary has like a podcast now or something. It's, how the mighty have fallen.
Oh, wow. So yeah, parrot fever anyway ended up. What happened was they started packing parrots in crates. And
did they get their own crate, or each one is like
smushed? No, they were all clumped together in a crate. And like, that's just fucking parrots.
Here's where the disease happens.
And you don't want to be in close quarters with things. So they had a disease that in natural spaces was like just not terribly problematic, and it wouldn't express itself and it wouldn't become symptomatic. But once you just crammed a whole bunch of them together, which is happening to every single organism on Earth for the most part right now, especially humans, they started becoming symptomatic and then becoming highly contagious. So all of them would get it, and it would give them diarrhea.
Nice.
And this diarrhea would dry. And if you inhaled the dry diarrhea from like
diarrhea
from like cleaning the cages or whatever, they didn't know this at the time. You would get this, what they ended up calling parrot fever. It was exceptionally fatal. It wasn't like I couldn't, if I got parrot fever, I wouldn't then pass it to you. If I'm remembering correctly, it wasn't, I don't think it was contagious outside of the zoonosis.
Okay.
But it was pretty damn lethal. And that was I believe it was the advent of the biohazard suit, because they went to study it in a lab in a basement, and they knew it was exceptionally dangerous, and so then they started wearing these biohazard suits, but then it would get through the cracks in the door, and so like just other people in the university or whatever started getting parrot fever.
Oh,
and
imagine
like,
working
Jesus.
all your life, studying hard night after night after night, not going out with your friends, only to inhale dry parrot diarrhea and die because of some project going on next door.
It happened to some people. I wouldn't say many people, but it happened. And that's when they're like, I guess there's these small particulates in the air or whatever. And that was the establishment of was it the CDC? Maybe the CDC. I think so. But let's call
something
it that for
like
now.
it.
Something really big. And then the kind of story ends with, so then they go, hey, we need to start testing, we need to start regulating this bird trafficking. And the bird traffickers are like, this is a plot against us to do this. And they're like, we just need to test your birds so that, and we can give you an approval which will be in your interest. If all the birds pass, then that's something that can be a selling point for you. And they're like, if you do this, then we're gonna keep on cracking down on our bird business. And it's been the same thing always. A big conspiracy, a couple scientists trying to do the best they can turns into some big conspiracy because of indifferent people that don't want to take the time to understand it.
But how do you know? I know in that case it seems obvious, but how do you know when they are actually Hitler and you're the actual Jews? Because many people love to say that we're the Jews right now and they're Hitler and they're trying to come after us. But
I think testing and falsifiability, and you go, well, if this were the case, how would I know it, and how would I test that? And if I was wrong, what would that look like? And thinking of falsifiable predictions. And
just that phrase alone has just turned a million or a billion people like, stop using your big words on me. Science boy, you're science Hitler.
Yeah, if you're wrong, what would that look like? It's a fun way to think about life. And it's improved our lives dramatically. And so eventually they had what happened was a senator ran against these this government power. It wasn't government power, it's just scientists being like, can you stop huffing bird diarrhea like all of the time. It's killing you. And the sender, like, that was his platform, was running against it because his wife was big into birds and had like 120 of these fucking.
No one should have 100
parrots.
birds. Even a zoo should have like 80.
And she got parrot fever. And then she was like on her deathbed, and one of the lead scientists who had had it himself and barely survived had antigens in his blood and donated his blood to her. And then when she recovered, she then became an advocate for parrot regulation.
That's, at least she had the, the dignity to
because we're anecdotal thinkers. You need a personal story. It needs to happen to you or someone close to you. You need to believe that it's real. You need to, you can't just statistics.
Yeah, sometimes your wife has to snort parrot diarrhea before anything can get done, as the old saying goes.
Yeah,
as they like to say. Not to sound like a cliche here.
So, I have a question for you. What's one of your favorite trips that you've ever been on?
Favorite trips that I've ever been on. There's a lot like New York. Let's see. I don't know. None of them takes the cake, but a lot of mini ones that I would all put as equally fun. We just went to Mexico recently. That was a big blast. Had the niece and nephew there.
Never been to Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico is rocking. We got pulled over by the police. We had to bribe the police. We saw the monkey sanctuary. We saw
You got to bribe the police.
Yep.
You mean... You got to bribe the police?
We got to bribe the police.
I
and
wanted to bribe the police. Have to bribe the police? I've always wanted to bribe the police. It's a scary situation to be in. You got to bribe the police.
It was awesome. And we read about it in the manual where like the police is corrupt and everyone knows they're corrupt, and what they're going to do is if they pull you over for anything, they're going to say that we're going to have to take you downtown right now, or you can pay the fee here, and it's less if you pay it here, but you have to pay it in cash. And then the fee was 1,500 pesos or something like that, which is the equivalent of what, $7,500 or something. But they're basically saying, give me cash now, or I'll take you this and we'll have to do the paperwork thing. And they don't want to fill out the paperwork, and plus they don't get that cash.
Wait. Did you mean between $75 and $100?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you said $7,500.
Oh, no. Between 75 and 100. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think they could have sustained that, because then you'd have a lot of officers just quitting after a few. Yeah. Maybe that's why the bribe is only a certain amount. They can't become, ultra rich. They just have to get a little something. But that was fun. I went to Hawaii with my family when I was in my early teens. That was fun.
Whoa! Can I ask you about that? You had fun with your family in your early teens? We had such a different upbringing. We had such a different relationship with our family.
I mean, it wasn't swimmingly all the time. There'd probably be moments that I can't remember now where there would be some kind of bickering sort of thing. But now that as you grow up, you start to compare your family with all the other families you've seen. You're like, oh no, we're very well put together. Like the little pockets of upsetness or bickering or whatever thing is nothing compared to what I'm seeing everyone else go through.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel very privileged in my upbringing, but I absolutely hated every family member that was around me at all when I mean, it's a source of guilt for me. So I think that's pretty awesome that you got to.
And that's probably
like
what they would want to have, the Catholic guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt is like the best emotion.
Yeah.
And shame and guilt are the the 1 and 2 punch.
Like a sinking. I've started adding pits in my stomach because I was getting sick of just having like one one big pit in my stomach. So I started categorizing my pits a bit and having a few more.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Have you ever had someone say that to you? Like, are you okay? You seem very upset. No, I can compartmentalize. And they compartmentalize that and then do the other thing.
Like,
man, I don't know other trips. I went to New York with the orchestra in high school. I got lost and they went to the Statue of Liberty without me. And then they found me a few hours later.
Were you scared?
Not really at first, because I was just kind of spaced out and I didn't realize everyone was gone. And then when I realized everyone was gone, I was like, And then I was like looking at this ferry going away, and I was convinced that they were all on that ferry going away. But really, they had left on a different ferry a while ago. And then they came back around the time that I had noticed that they were gone. And then they were like thrilled to have found me, because the teachers and stuff were probably more worried about their reputation and stuff, having lost a kid. But it was a whole thing. And then I was like, and all the artwork, because, you know, they like make a little scrapbook of the trip and stuff. Like I was this little character that was lost on the top of the World Trade Center, which was still standing at the time. Year 2000. I missed it by a year. If we had gone on that trip 1 year later, which wouldn't have happened because it's only a trip that happens every 4 years, but had it happened then, I would have been on top of the World Trade Center as the planes were hitting it. Front row seats. People love stories like that, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the best one is Seth MacFarlane. He literally had a ticket on one of the World Trade Center flights. It's funny that they're called that now, but he slept through it and missed it.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, you wouldn't have Family Guy, American Dad, Cleveland Show, The Orville, Ted, whatever else.
He has to stop doing so many things, I feel like.
I disagree. I think you should put it all in Orville. I'm a fan.
It takes everything that I can do to keep up with this show. I don't get how someone's making 10 shows. Here's
a little hint. It's funded heavily.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we're very scrappy. We get by with no ads and just all listener and viewer support. But yeah, if you've got money from Mind Under Pod. Yeah, but if you've got Fox giving you like, you know, $100 million or whatever it is, then it's easy to like, oh, let's start another show. Let's start Mind Under Frog, where we only talk about frogs. And then the frog show becomes bigger than the main show.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no, money does unlock everything.
It certainly does. I can tell you that with festival stuff. There's been times where I've had to be like, okay, well, we don't get any of these things anymore. And then, oh, here's a better solution. And now, okay, this could work, and this can work. And then sometimes when sales come in, it's like, okay, every single sale that comes in just unlocks a better potential for the festival. That's all that it does. It doesn't end up, none of it ends up in our pockets ever. That's the code that we live by here at Mind Under Matter. Is that none of it ever profits us in any way.
Me neither.
But we will increase the quality of our output in some way.
I used to admire that until I'm living in it. Now I'm like, I need to find a big payday. But like, you know me, I'm a big Frank Zappa fan, and I always loved that he would talk about like, you know, all the money we make goes back into the business, goes back into recording equipment, goes back into hiring other musicians, recording space. And like, so it was always about putting whatever you made back into the next tour. And I feel like we do that with the fest. We do that even with my books and stuff. If I'm sold out, I just buy more books. So I've already lost the money that I made selling those first books. So there's just never money. It's just always just sustaining a thing. I'm like, why am I just sustaining a thing? I guess to provide joy, but I mean, that can't be right.
I don't think it is right. I'm in agreement.
But it's what we do. I heard this. Yeah. I heard the funniest. It was funny to me at least. But Nick Mullen, previously of Cumtown, currently the Adam Friedland Show, he said offhand, like, I'm gonna start treating my behavior as though it's sensory input because I don't have any control over this. I'm just gonna start treating my behavior like a smell or something because I'll just find myself being like, why am I vegan now? Like he switched to veganism and be like, why am I this? Like, because I watched one half of a documentary. I'm not really making a choice. I just kind of am stuff. I'm just kind of doing crazy, stupid stuff all the time. And yeah. So just treat your behavior as though it was just something you saw or smelled, or you don't have any control.
I watched a couple of really good clips of him recently doing
stand-up. Mullen?
Yeah. He has some funny stand-up out there.
Oh, yeah. He's getting back into it. Stavros also got back into stand-up. I think they got tired of just making millions off of their cum show and just decided to shut it down and just go back into clubs and seeing if they're still... They
shut it down?
Well, kinda. They ended the show and Stavros left, and now it's just Nick and Adam, and their current project is trying to make a mainstream show.
Really?
Like make him the next Seth Meyers. It's actually very funny.
I don't keep up with any, I don't listen to podcasts and stuff, so I don't know. But
I keep up with this one because, I mean, it's someone I know from a while back, and because I find it funny, and because, I don't know, sometimes I just get down into one rabbit hole. It's the thing. Like, this is the 3 podcasts I listened to this month. Maybe it's Rory Scovel and Your Mom's House. And then this month it's Jackie Cation and Lori Kilmartin and Cumtown and whatever. Or the Scott's bass lessons. Just, there's always like 3 that I just go to that there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just 3 that I listen to. And then I get bored of it, and then I come back a year later.
But I have a question for you.
Traveling between shows.
Since you're traveling to the Campout, you're doing
24 hours.
Yeah, you're doing. Less. Is it? No, it's less than 24 hours.
Oh Christ!
You're leaving.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. You're doing. In addition to a bunch of things at the Campout, Dan Ariely was like, I've always wanted jazz accompaniment at one of my talks. And so you're helping out playing bass for that aspect of it.
Yeah.
How hard is something like that to do? Because to me, it seems like all that I know how to do is hand whistle. So for me, like in my mind, I go, well, okay, someone's talking right now, and then I'm supposed to hand whistle from time to time at the right key moment. So they go, newtons are super fast, and then I go, and I don't get how it works, but music.
Yeah.
Am
I worried about it? Yes. I have some wood shop work. I have some woodshed stuff I got to do for it, and I'm going to be playing the bass for that. And for my solo set, I'm going to do like a bass, looper, pedal, violin combo. But with the jazz thing, I need to, because they sent me a list of standards that we might play. And the tricky part about that, on bass at least, because with drums, you're, playing rhythms. With guitar, you're kind of feeling it out. And guitar is pretty difficult too with it. But with the bass, you have to remember the key changes. And in these standards, there's like 12. It goes like across 12 different keys. So you're playing like the root, the fifth, and then just kind of going up chromatically. But just it's about remembering as though it was colors. Like a lot of rock and roll songs are just like, this is the color red. And then in a jazz one, it'll be like, okay, it goes red, blue, green, purple, pink, red, orange, red, and then it loops. And then it's like, okay, wait, what? I said it goes red, and then you have to remember, and that's why it sounds like random notes to most people, because it might as well be random if you don't know what the pattern is. It sounds really
intimidating.
Yeah, I was about to ask the guy, like, you got anybody else?
That you signed up. Oh, do you want out of it?
I was gonna ask the guy, because here's what I'm asking. I'm gonna say, like,
you have so much going on, dude.
That's why, because when I was looking at the standards, I'm like, can I actually do this well, or will I be like making it sound dissonant if I don't learn it right?
You'll be fine. Your performance will be good, and you won't make it worse, and no one's.
I might though, but I was gonna still ask for a backup in worst case scenario, because I do want to learn these standards, or we could just kind of play it by ear, because I'm good ear. I can hang with anything in the moment. But then if it's like, okay, you got to remember these 12.
No, I think you're a riffer. And it should be riffed. How are you going to play this? I saw a little bit of that conversation, and it's like, how do you play a song while someone is giving a talk? No, you riff. Right?
Yeah, but if we're going to, because I don't know what kind of musicians they are, because if they're not jammy people and they're more like, no, stick to the changes, then we've got a little bit of a clash, because then we've got to stick to these changes. But as long as I know what the changes are.
Tool.
What? Do Tool?
No. I retool.
Just play Tool in the background instead.
It's just you don't bring any of these things to me, because I can fix all of it easily. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think of it as your problem, because I have the email contacts and I was going to just talk to the people, but
yeah.
I did, because a lot of people already know the jazz standards and I just don't, because I was never a standards, in actual jazz band person. I was more of a listener and noodler and that kind of thing. But then as they sent the list and I'm looking through it, I'm like, I may have bitten off more than I can chew right now.
Oh, well, we're going to get rid of the list then. Either. No, but you like to do it, right?
I'd like to do it, but it comes down to what is, does he
then
care?
We'll get rid of the list. No,
We'll see.
He doesn't care. I know him. We'll get rid of the list. Yeah, okay. These are things you got to bring to me. Yeah, we'll get rid of the list. It'll be fine.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And also, I can also just have the chord changes in front of me and just follow along.
I don't know any of
C
that
major,
or what
B
it means.
flat, F, G, A, B, C major again. Yay.
I don't know music at all. All I have is my world-class hand fluting.
And we'd like you to join us.
I've never jazz hand fluted. I've never done anything but copy another thing. You want to try to guess one?
Sure. Oops, I did it again.
Yep.
Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart and got lost in the game. Oh, baben.
Does it say baben?
I thought she said baben sometimes, like baby, but she says her babe is like the way that Michael Jackson said chamona, like when he's saying come on, but it's like chamona.
Is that what he was saying?
Thought so. Well, what does chamona mean then?
I was never a Michael Jackson fan, even before the things. I remember my friends, I remember being like 4 or 5 of my friends showing me the video Thriller. Oh. And they're like, isn't this the most amazing thing you've ever seen? And I was like, no. It's not. Atari is. Atari by a long shot. Atari is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then when Nintendo came out, that was the most amazing thing that
You know what I think it is? some people, I think, have something in their brain that really loves watching people dance. And we've seen it recently.
Something about that.
Like, look how popular just dancing videos are on TikTok. And it's easy to write off and be like, oh, it's just base level stuff. Like, we love the high intellect. But it does something to people to watch someone do a coordinated dance and get more people involved, get some costumes in it. And it's next level. I was listening to something about in the late 70s, some music producer discovered that any successful music movement had a clothing thing that went with it. And once they figured that out, they're like, oh, well, then fuck the music. Let's just figure out the clothes and then we'll think about the music later. And then that's what started the real corporate punk movement with
disco.
Yeah. It's all about the clothes. It's about the clothes and the moves. And then the music is a later thing. And that's why so many people who are like, why doesn't this music,
Kurt
how come
Cobain,
this isn't popular? Yeah, that's a clothes
bands.
too. Something I heard about Kurt Cobain recently, which I had not considered, was he was there's half of him, which we all know, which is the corporate magazines still suck. It's all doom and gloom. This is bad. We're going the wrong way. I'm authentic. And also there was a side of him that said, I want to be the biggest band in the world.
Oh, he had those ambitions. I've read all of his diaries.
Okay, like, then you already know that. But that's such a disconnect. Those are two completely opposite sentiments.
Yeah, but he also... It wasn't because he wanted to disrupt the system or anything like that. That was... I think he just like...
No, it's an ego thing just like me.
Yeah, it was...
I'm no different.
It was an ego thing, but he hated... But he was like particular about his taste in things. He was like writing the meat puppets and stuff. A band he would eventually cover.
Yeah, like 8 times on the Unplugged album.
On the Unplugged album, that would be their biggest claim.
Yeah, nothing
fame.
on the top but a bucket and a mop and an illustrated book about birds.
He was very nervous before that recording, and yeah, he was writing them, being like, "We have this video coming out. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be really big. There's like cheerleaders with anarchy symbols and stuff like that." That's what he's writing the meat puppets.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really fascinating to see.
Did they reply?
I'm not sure.
I would love a whole coffee table book about icons writing other icons. Where, you hear about like, Kurt Cobain writing the meat puppets. Prince used to write Joni Mitchell, like love letters of like how much he loved her music. And like with like, he would write the 2s as the number 2 and the U's as U letter, just like he did in the song titles. Frank Zappa he used his birthday money to make a long distance phone call to Edgar Varese, who's this like eccentric composer, this French composer. And back then there's no internet or anything. And he just deduced that like, I thought a man that made music that strange could only live in one place, Greenwich Village. So I called the operator for Greenwich Village and asked to speak to Edgar Varese, and they dialed up, and sure enough, it was his house, but he wasn't home. His wife picked up, but he nailed where he lived just based on the sound. He's like, he's got to live in Greenwich Village. He's gotta.
Is that a real story?
Real story.
Wow.
Yeah, 15-year-old Frank.
15?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Imagine using your birthday money to make a phone call. That's all you want. Like, out of any object. Like, no, I just want to call this guy.
His wife answers. That's a big day.
Yeah.
That's huge. You made a connect. You actually found him? Even if you don't get... That's amazing. Huh.
Yeah. Like, you would call Robert Sapolsky's wife.
Yeah. I would, to tell her to stop clanging pots around when I'm trying to record with him.
That adds to the charm of the eps.
Oh yeah.
But another thing about travel is that some people travel by boat, not just air and car.
I looked at some boat carpet today, man. It's not what I was hoping it's gonna be. It's gonna be tricky.
You mean it's harder to cut than you thought?
It's harder to cut. It's harder to paint. Everything is harder about it than...
Maybe that's what the point of it is. It's like more resilient.
I know.
It doesn't want to be anything but boat carpet.
I don't have a doubt in my mind that it's not amazing boat carpet.
Boat carpet is your jazz standards on bass, where you're like looking at this like, oh shit. So I don't just listen to it for a few minutes and have it figured out like I have in the past. I have to actually study. Ooh boy. Yeah,
I have to go and physically move and physically do lots of things. And I don't know. I haven't been terribly physical all summer. I haven't been playing that much pickleball and stuff like that.
You've just been emailing, right?
I've been wheeling and dealing. I've been on the phone. I've been emailing. I've been doing that sort of thing.
You got to be a successful businesswoman with a elliptical. You got to be like,
yeah, that's true.
Making deals on that elliptical.
Yeah, I gotta get the pants for it.
Yeah,
businesswoman pants. I think those
successful businesswoman in a white room with 3 plants and 1 laptop in the center of the white table.
Do you have a horrific travel experience by chance?
Oh, I've got to. Let's see what I've blocked out before.
I think the worst thing about travel, and this isn't necessarily true, but it's a space in your mind that is unavoidable if you travel enough, where you go, it's all McDonald's everywhere. Great. What's the McDonald's like here? This is like, it's all the same shit. Who cares? That's the worst. And you can't avoid, you cannot avoid that. You'll go and you'll be like, blah, blah, blah. Some part of your brain will do that. It's like, I've seen all this shit before. That's the worst part. And that's not the place's fault. That's not the travel's fault. That's just the brain being cynical and negative about a thing more than.
So that's your worst travel?
I hate that aspect of it. When that gets firing, and it doesn't, I can go to the same city 3 times and have a completely different experience of it.
Yeah.
I was like a maximizer of travel. I used to get on like double-decker buses and stuff. I would do the whole.
Aren't those only in the UK?
I would, whatever travel. I've been on 10 different Segway tours around the world. Like I love taking touristy. I love taking tours of new cities because it's so silly and weird, but you get to see a bunch, and also everyone on them is strange.
Yeah.
Always.
They're all tourists too.
They're always all tourists.
It's all the type of person that would go on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know it seems like such a obvious stoner thought, but I was really integrating now that every review I've ever read was written by someone who writes reviews. Every negative comment I've read is someone that writes negative comments. And you for whatever reason, you're like, no, this is a random sample sized person. No, it's not. It's a random sample size of this specific group.
I tell myself to write. I don't write. Have I written bad reviews for people? There has to be 1 or 2 out there that I've written. There has to be. I can't think of any.
You have to face those when you go into the afterlife.
Yeah, I rightfully so. But good reviews, that's what I really beat myself up for, because I'll have something amazing at a place. I'm like, how did I get so lucky to have found this place that I just took a chance on? Wow, I need to write them a review. And then I just forget. I do sometimes, but more often I forget.
Me too.
Oof.
I'll have a Lyft driver that was great, and then the next time I open Lyft, it's like, how was your ride from Ronaldo? Like, oh, that was 6 months ago. I should probably give him a thumbs up now.
Oh,
like, they already
God.
got the tip, but like the thumbs up part.
Dude, you just nailed the most common Lyft driver name of all time.
Ronaldo?
Which is Ronaldo.
They're all Ronaldo all
They're
night.
all Ronaldos.
They are, and they're great. Some of them like to talk. Some of them will talk if you want to talk. Others of them not talking, and they're just playing the pop hits of the 2000s. Are they doing it for me or for them? You'll never know.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in, I don't know, less
24
than 48 hours.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I know I say that now, but by the time I'm stepping off the plane, I'm all gravy.
Can't wait to see you. It's going to be
Me
great.
too. Yeah, when's the last time
And-
we saw each other physically? Like a year ago?
It was before Mom.
No, it wasn't, because you came
Oh, that's
to
right.
LA
We played
and
pickleball
we
and
played
stuff.
pickleball.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's
It's
been a
not
while. It's been close to
2022
a year.
because we were still living at the old place last time you came.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
nuts. To the viewers at home, though, we're in the
And
same
Cat's
room.
coming.
Yep.
Hot diggity. Ah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's going to be the best time. It's going to be the best travel. And then next year when we do another travel episode, it's like, what's an example of good travel? And I'll go, oh, MUMFest #1, 2022, North Carolina, Raleigh, Lakeside Retreats. Me, Yurt, you, the viewer, coming up this fall on Fox.
Well, we hope to see some of you there, and the rest of you, we hope to see the next time around. And until next time.
Keep on salivating, honeys.